In 2015, Nintendo showed the world just how colorful shooters could be. At the time, Splatoon was an incredibly important title in Nintendo's lineup. While fans knew they could expect franchises like Mario, Zelda and Pokémon to show up, Splatoon was the breath of fresh air that many people had hardly expected from Nintendo. The first trailer was revealed during the E3 2014 Nintendo Direct and showcased vibrant colors, creative gameplay, and a type of shooter that people had never really seen before. Nintendo fans were initially very skeptical, but the free global test-fire demo shortly before launch managed to win many people over, and the series quickly became a major success. Nowadays, Splatoon is a well-known name, and in addition to 3 main games, now even has its first spin-off. And while Splatoon is a recognizable franchise here and certainly has many fans, in Japan it is pretty much a phenomenon. When Splatoon 3 launched in September 2022, it sold 3.45 million copies in Japan within its first 3 days alone, making it the fastest-selling game of all time in the country. Over the years, the game has sold roughly 12 million copies worldwide. Although I unfortunately could not find official sales figures divided by region, it is reasonable to assume that the majority of those sales came from Japan. But how comes that Splatoon has become such a phenomenon in Japan, while its reception in other parts of the world has been noticeably more tame? To answer that question, we need to dive a little into Japanese culture, or more specifically, Japanese pop culture. The first reason sets Splatoon apart from virtually every Western shooter: idol culture. In Japan, idols are admired, celebrated, and often treated as role models by their fans. They are a huge part of popular culture. And of course, you may know a similar phenomenon through the popular K-pop from Korea. Popular idol groups have enormous fan bases, who are not only interested in their music, but also in the idols themselves. Through activities such as fan meetings and live streams, agencies try to foster a closer connection between idols and their audiences, creating a stronger sense of community. In some cases, this can be cool, but it also is at significant risk of parasocial relationships. Idols are often expected to maintain a pure image, meaning they are discouraged or even forbidden from being in relationships or dating, because it would damage the bond to their fans. This aspect of idol culture is highly controversial and has repeatedly led to dangerous situations such as obsessive behavior, stalking, or even worse. Idol culture is a significant part of Japanese culture and is frequently a topic in anime and manga, and Nintendo made this phenomenon a big part of Splatoon. At least the positive aspects, of course. Do you remember the Inkopolis news segments from the first game? Or the legendary Squid Sisters? What was an annoying intro sequence for many of us represented a surprisingly important cultural aspect of the game for others. To the Japanese community, these characters are not just interchangeable NPCs. They have distinct personalities, host the in-game events, and are clearly the stars of the game. In Japan, there are even real hologram concerts held in sold-out arenas, where thousands of fans wave glow sticks and cheer on their idols. This culture is a massive phenomenon there. With Off the Hook in Splatoon 2 and Deep Cut in Splatoon 3, Nintendo has continued to build on this concept. As a result, the regular Splatfests, where players choose one of the idols and join their team, have much higher importance in Japan. They are very much major pop culture celebrations, something that is especially evident during their grand festival. Splatoon is therefore deeply rooted in Japanese culture, and for many Western fans, that aspect is probably difficult to fully grasp, and may even feel somewhat strange. Likewise, many male players in Western countries have an odd relationship with bright colors and cute characters. Here people often tend to immediately associate cute characters with children or women, while male gamers don't really like that aesthetic. While the Western gaming market has long been dominated by dark and realistic shooters such as Call of Duty and Battlefield, Japan appears to be more open-minded in this regard. Liking cute things doesn't seem to be a sign of immaturity or femininity as much in Japan as it is here. It is something that spans all age groups. Even banks, prefectures, and the police in Japan have their own adorable mascots. Now take a look at Splatoon. Nintendo managed to take the highly competitive, and often toxic, shooter genre and wrap it in a colorful, cute aesthetic. In the West, many hardcore gamers still hold the belief that if a game is cute and colorful, it's only for children. In Japan, however, those two ideas do not seem to be as mutually exclusive. The number of times I've heard people say they refuse to play games like Mario or Zelda because they consider them kids' games is honestly crazy to me. A game can be visually colorful and cute, while still being a brutally competitive, mechanically demanding esports title that adults can enjoy at a high level. Splatoon perfectly caters to that appeal. On the one hand, it is extremely accessible, but anyone who really dives into the game will quickly realize just how much there actually is to it. In my opinion, many Western gamers place far too much emphasis on realism, and often fail to give colorful games a fair chance at all. And that is unfortunate unfortunate because the game's art style does not necessarily say anything about the actual content of a game. On top of that, Splatoon has simply become omnipresent in Japan. While you may occasionally stumble across a bit of merchandise in a store here, over there it seems to be everywhere. There's an incredible amount of Splatoon branded things. It goes from Splatoon themed snacks and branded ice cream flavors to collaborations with major clothing brands and even official school supplies for children. Splatoon is everywhere in Japan. Nintendo actively supports this visibility through major crossover events and collaborations. For example, there have been partnerships with major aquariums in Japan, where Splatoon-themed decorations are put out and visitors can purchase exclusive merchandise. Because of this overwhelming presence in everyday life, it seems that virtually everyone in Japan has at least heard of the series. You don't even have to actively play Splatoon to recognize and appreciate its characters. It has become a genuinely big part of modern Japanese pop culture, and that is arguably the best kind of marketing a game series can get. When enough people know and love something, everyone eventually becomes aware of it. I also think it helps that, alongside smartphones, the Nintendo Switch is the dominant gaming platform in Japan. Japan has a population of about 120 million people. The Nintendo Switch has sold around 36 million units there, meaning that nearly 1 in every 3 people own a Nintendo Switch. That is an insanely high number, and it shows perfectly just how much Nintendo is loved there. And if you want to play a shooter on a Nintendo console, Splatoon is probably the game you're going to pick up. The fact that Splatoon has not achieved the same level of success in the West is not just due to Japan itself though. It is also a result of how Nintendo marketed the game outside of Japan. During my research, I repeatedly came across complaints from fans who were not particularly happy with the marketing. Many of the marketing campaigns were apparently aimed almost entirely at children. Back in 2015, the first major American commercials for the game heavily featured the classic "You're a kid now, you're a squid now" song. While it has become somewhat iconic over time, it was also very clearly targeted at children. In some parts of the world, the marketing apparently never really moved beyond that, causing many people to view Splatoon primarily as a children's or family game. In a way, it's Nintendo's own fault that they didn't reach enough hardcore gamers, because the marketing simply gave off the wrong impression. They tried to sell a complex and highly competitive game as a children's game, and that definitely hurt the series' reputation here. Anyone who has ever tried playing Splatoon competitively knows that some of the most dedicated and competitive players are found there. I'll gladly admit that even after hundreds of hours in the game, I'm still absolutely terrible at it. And honestly, anyone who sees Splatoon for the first time is likely to dismiss it as a kid's game if they are used to shooters like Call of Duty or Battlefield. That is exactly why stronger marketing in the opposite direction would have been so important if Nintendo wanted the series to have a broader appeal here. In the end, I think we can conclude that Splatoon is simply much more deeply rooted in Japanese culture, which makes it far more accessible there. The entire presentation of the series seems tailored towards the Japanese market. Whether it's the pop idol groups, the strong emphasis on style, or the cute visual design, all of those elements appear to carry far greater cultural significance in Japan. While Western shooters are often dominated by realism and dark storylines, Splatoon takes a completely different approach and demonstrates that shooters can be something else entirely. And, by the way, can still have surprisingly dark lore. That being said, it is important not to forget that the series has been anything but a failure outside of Japan. Splatoon has built large and passionate communities in Western countries too, with dedicated fans who genuinely love playing the series. But for becoming an actual cultural phenomenon, for that, it's simply not enough.